share my screen. I'm so glad to be doing this session with you, and I'm happy that all of you have joined to listen to a session such as this, at such a time as this, at such an age as this. Okay, so we are not alone. Uh, we live in a world that is complex, and we share space with uh, millions of big, small, and microscopic organisms. Okay, so we live in a beautiful world. But we all know the more I'm reading a statement by someone, the more we understand how our planet works, the more we see just how badly we, its present caretakers, have been looking after it. So we all understand that something has gone wrong somewhere. Okay. So I'm sure you must have had some thoughts here and there on what has gone wrong and what we can do about it. So we'll be looking at what has gone wrong, and and we'll be exploring our role in the project of setting the earth right. Okay. All right. So looking at what has gone wrong, we all know that plastics and polythene bags are a big problem. They often end up in the digestive system of different animals. It's not unusual to see a cow munching on a polythene bag in a dustbin. Okay, the durability of plastics is what makes them difficult to degrade. Okay, how many of you have heard about hatchlings and the problems they face because of light pollution? You've heard about it? Okay, so yeah, so the hatchlings migrate to, yeah, so you all know the story, so I'll not spend much time. So because the beaches are lit up, the hatchlings get confused. So that causes a lot of problem with the turtle migration. Okay, so light pollution is another problem. All nature operates in a particular rhythm, including our bodies, right? So we have a rhythm of, they call it the circadian rhythm. We have the work rest cycle. Okay, so we need to work along with nature and light only what we need. So the nocturnal life that comes alive at night can operate properly. Okay, all right, and we all know the impacts of noise pollution. It's just for you to think about. I'm not going to go into the details of it. And just as I was thinking about oil spills, I just read a news today about an accident that happened somewhere around Sri Lanka in a cargo ship. Okay, a fire that broke out. So all these accidents that happen in the environment is going to degrade the living space and the living conditions of the animals there. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about habitat destruction, fragmentation, and degradation. Okay, habitat is the place where an organism lives. So when a city expands or when a construction comes up, it causes, we often destroy large spaces of land. So it causes habitat destruction. And this picture is the ocean floor, which is a degraded habitat because of dumping of waste in the ocean. And habitat fragmentation usually occurs when we build roads across a forest or across a widespread ecosystem. Okay, so it results in, suppose, imagine that in this picture there is a lake on this side. So this bear will lose proper access to the resources here, and it will also have other social and issues which will result in the dwindling of the population of the animals. Okay, so these are some of the issues that we know about. What can we do? This is another degraded habitat because of solid waste dumping. You see a lot of storks here and other birds and animals and a lot of people also, right? Okay, so what can we do? What do the organisms around us actually need? They basically need two things. They need food and they need a habitat. Habitat is a place to rest and roost, to nest. Okay, so the first thing we can do is provide food for the animals around us. Okay, in small ways, like setting up a water bath or bird feeders, feeding with waste from our kitchen. Okay, and there's there's a verse in the Bible which says, when you harvest, leave some for the poor. And after they have taken, leave some for the wild animals to come and feed on. So if we are going to have a guava tree or we have a custard apple tree here in our home, which gave us very tasty custard apples. But we couldn't eat it all. So we gave some to our mates, some to our neighbors, but then we left the rest for the birds to come and eat them. So if you have a chiku tree or a guava tree, see that you don't harvest everything. Leave some for the birds and the squirrels to come and feed from them. Okay, so we use what we need and we leave the rest for those who need it and for the animals around us. Okay, so it's basically a change from being self-focused to looking out to see what's around us, to being generous in our thoughts and in what we do. Okay, the second thing that we can do is to provide habitats. Okay, you may wonder why I put pictures of all these birds. Would you like to have some fun identifying some of them? You can unmute or chat.
Crow, crow.
Yeah, that's a crow. Yes, right. Anything else that you can identify?
The one
Sparrow.
Yeah, sparrow, right.
near
Yes.
the bulb is a paradise
Hummingbird.
flycatcher.
Paradise flycatcher. Yes, this is a paradise flycatcher. You're right. Then this is where they get angry bird from. So that's the
Was there a cuckoo?
cuckoo.
Pheasant.
Oh, this is a quail. This is an Asian quail.
Quail?
Yeah, that's a quail. And this is called a rufous tree pie. This is a sunbird. Have you seen sunbirds?
Yes,
Some of
yes.
them are fully purple. Yeah. Okay. So why I put all these is these are regular visitors to our backyard now in Madurai. Okay. It's a small plot of land with 5 neem trees. And we have all these birds coming in, including the paradise flycatcher, different birds at different times of the day. Okay. But I'm just dreading the day when this plot will be sold to someone and they'll clean up the whole place and build a house. And we are not going to have these visitors anymore. So we need to think of ways where we can build our habitats and we can coexist and still provide habitats for all these small organisms around us. Okay, probably we can retain 1 or 2 trees. We don't cut them all off, so their birds can still keep coming. Okay, so the next time you work with a real estate company or you're working on city expansion or you're buying a house, building a house, think of how you can save the animals that are still there and you can coexist with them. Okay, so we provide habitats and we do not completely destroy them. Okay, and if you happen to find bird nests, please do not reach out to them. Okay, and you can participate in citizen science, work along with researchers who are collecting data on all these animals, and you can contribute to them. Okay, and then we need to manage our wastes well so we don't degrade habitats. Okay, so I'm sure you must be familiar with this picture, okay, or clippings from Toy Story. It talks a lot about solid waste management. Okay, so the challenges of solid waste management in our country we have 2 major challenges. One is the enormity of the waste, the quantity of waste. The second is the heterogeneity of the waste, the mixed nature of our waste. Okay. So a typical municipal solid waste, it's actually the waste that is generated from households, the composition is like this. 50 to 70% is biodegradable in nature. Okay. So, and the next category is the recyclables, and everything else comes to a lesser percentage. Okay. So our major waste is biodegradable in nature. So what happens to our waste is we have people collect waste from our homes or we go dump them into bins, right? And then they are typically collected by compactors, which compress or compact our waste. And they're often taken to treatment facilities in cities, or they are taken to dump sites. Okay, we have no such things as landfills in India. We only have dump sites. Okay, Landfills are more organized waste disposal sites, which they have in other countries. But in India, we basically have dump sites. Okay. All right. So 90% of our waste is dumped into open grounds. And what are the issues because of this kind of waste disposal? We have a group of people who work in segregating wastes, okay, either in the treatment centers or in the dump sites. There are rat pickers are a reality. Now, this is a 10-year-old data, which shows the number of rat pickers in different cities in India. The second will be the problem of leachate. Okay, what is leachate? So if your mother asks you to dispose the waste and you forget to do it and you let the kitchen waste stay in the kitchen for like 2-3 days, and then you remember and you go look at it, you'll often find a foul smelling liquid, dark color, that comes out of the waste. Have you seen that? Yes, so that's the leachate. So it's the moisture content of the biodegradable waste, the biological waste that gets that starts coming out of the waste. Now imagine in our mixed waste, we put all kinds of stuff. We have, imagine people throwing in batteries, used medicines, glass, everything, and then all kinds of household chemicals, cleaning chemicals, everything. And all this gets mixed with the leachate, and the leachate that comes out is going to be a highly concentrated toxic liquid. And India being a monsoonal country, we have monsoonal rains. So when we have rains in our dump sites, leachate is going to cause groundwater pollution also, which is another problem. Okay, and continuous burning of dump sites. Those of you who are in Chennai must have seen the Palikarne area that's constantly burning and causing a lot of air pollution also. Okay, so what can we do about this? The first thing that we need to do is to, I'm sure you must have heard about reduce, reuse, and recycle, is reduction at source. So we're going to be talking about at source means the place where the waste is generated. So what we can do not buy or get what you do not need. Okay, that will, if we reduce the amount of things that we get, that will also reduce the amount of waste that we generate. Okay, I'll give you an example. When I was in college, we had a professor who used to come to college in a bicycle. He was staying in the quarters, and we used to think he's a little strange. But he came to our class for the first day. This is our first day of class, for postgraduate class, and he gives us like the small pieces of paper, which are used, one-sided paper. Okay, and we are asked to write our expectations from this course and all that. And I was wondering, why is he giving us such small pieces of paper? He's like, if you want more paper, you can ask from me. And I'm like, okay. But as we watched the way he lived, we understood the way he was reducing the amount of waste that he was generating. And he was doing it by example. Okay. So with the increase in economic conditions, living conditions of people, and with the access to Amazon and all that, we often don't think what we are getting, right? So we need to pause and think, do I really need this? And then go ahead and getting or buying what we need. Okay. The second thing is to reuse. Okay, I'll share an example of a lady I met a few years ago. And she was not a poor lady. She's from a decent household. And she told us, if you're tired of your clothes, give them to me. I don't mind wearing used clothes. I was slightly shocked because that was very new for me. Okay. How much are we willing to reuse things that can be reused? Books, clothes, packaging material, furniture, utensils, anything. And an important point that we can note here is how careful are we in handling our resources? So when I handle what I have well, once I'm done using it, I can give it to someone who needs it. Now, if I don't handle it well, it may end up in the dustbin. Okay, so that also calls for a lot of responsible, organized living. So I can reuse responsibly the things that I have, and I can give it to those who will need after I'm done using it. Okay. The next thing is about recycling. I'll come to it in a while. Okay, another important thing that we really need to do is to segregate our waste at source. Okay, so I would encourage all of you to think about shifting to zero waste households, that our households will not generate any waste, that we will be responsible to treat our own wastes. Okay, so those are zero waste households. All right, so for that, we need to first segregate our waste. The first class is the biodegradables, okay, which is 50 to 70%. We still peel our vegetables, we still, we don't get processed food, right? We cut our mangoes, we have the seed, we have the peels, right? So we generate a lot of kitchen waste, right? So the first class is our biodegradables. Now, segregating into dry and waste is just a basic segregation. Now, we need to, for us to become zero waste households, we need to go beyond that. Okay. So the first category is biodegradables. The second will be recyclables. Okay. But you also need to separate your paper, plastics, and glass. Okay. Now, if you have a broken glass, you cannot mix it with your paper and plastic. Okay. Okay, the next class of waste that we need to segregate is the hazardous waste, which will include batteries, medicine sharps, razors, blades, cleaning liquids, and all those chemical stuff. So these will be the hazardous waste category. Okay, and then is the e-waste, which all our appliances, computers, and batteries, and mobile phones, and all the accessories that go along with it. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is to reduce. The second thing that we need to do is to segregate our waste. Now, after segregation, what do we do with our waste? Okay, so what do we do with our biodegradables? The easy thing to do if you have space and interest is to make a compost. Okay, if you have a garden and you would like to transfer the compost to your plants, so that's the easy thing to do. But what we have also done is to pass on. We have a maid who has a cow at home, so she happily takes all our kitchen waste, including, so all the vegetarian waste basically goes to the cow. Okay, so if you have a neighbor who has rabbits or guinea pigs, so I think rabbits will be very happy to eat your vegetable peelings. Okay, so, and all the meat goes to the crows and the dog. We have a dog at home, so between the crows and the dog, we all our biodegradables are sorted out. Okay, so you can think of ways like that. You can use the biodegradables from your kitchen to feed the animals around you. Okay, I've seen all kinds of, okay, when we have little boys at home who often leave behind food or they spill, and I've found all kinds of birds feeding on the curd rice that we leave outside for the birds to eat. Crows, sparrows, rufous tree pies, squirrels, all of them eating curd rice, grains basically. Okay. The recyclables have to be segregated and transferred to processing facilities or given to people who will use them. Hazardous waste in Chennai, I have seen bins which are specifically kept for hazardous waste collection. They should be treated just like biomedical wastes, which are collected and taken to facilities which incinerate the waste or treat it properly according to the specific way of treating the particular waste. Okay, usually it's incineration. Okay, e-waste, I borrowed it from a blog. You need to buy less, organize what you have, give away or donate, take it back to the store, recycle, handle or dispose properly. So these are some ways we can handle e-wastes. Okay. Now, if you are looking at an something to do as an entrepreneur, e-waste management is a big area that you can do. Okay. What happens often is e-waste also ends up with the other waste and goes to the kabadiwalas, what they call the kachra, the guy who collects them, and he has no idea what to do with it. He resells what he can, and then he goes and drops everything in the dump site. Okay, so we need people who will properly recycle e-wastes. Okay, all right. So understanding our role in this whole process. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but I want to encourage you and remind you that we are part of a big, massive project of the world being made new. Okay, so creation is waiting to be renewed. We are waiting for a time when uh, everything will be put right. And you and I can be a part of, it can be a small part, but it's a significant part in this big project of putting things right. So I want to invite you to be a part of this project. Okay, it's started and it's happening. Okay, there's a lot of waste around. Yes, I agree with you, but there's a lot of beauty around. There's a lot of restoration around. Have you been to the Chetpat Lake? That's a restored lake. Okay, so you can, if you would like to know more about this, and you can contact any of the Lighthouse team, and they will explain more how you can be a part of this world being made new, like the humans being renewed. Okay, this big project. All right, so that's my last slide. So I do hope you've learned something useful. Yes, so be mindful of life around you. Think of ways you can give them food and habitat, reduce the use of chemicals and plastics. It's good even for our own cells. One of my friends used to tell me that our whole body is like a big sponge. So the more chemicals you use, the more chemicals are going to go inside your body. So think of ways you can reduce the use of chemicals and plastics and opt for more biodegradables and reusables and recyclables. Be responsible in segregating and treating your own, disposing your own waste. So we can look for setting up zero waste households, and you can spread awareness among your friends. So we can be a community that's responsible. We need to be mindful and careful of what we get and what we keep. We are not alone. We are part of a larger system, a system that's being made new, and we can play our small but significant role in this big project. Okay, thank you.